So what about your character, Natasha, did you like the most or felt that you related to her?
You know what I like the most? So Natasha kind of reminded me a bit when I was like a bit younger, you know what I mean? And I love the way that she doesn't understand how self-centered she's being. Like, you know, in the opening scene, she's really like, you're bringing your kids to my house when we're having poker night. She's
Yeah.
just not accommodating of the change that her friends are having in their lives. And although it's selfish, it does make me laugh. You know, as a character, I was like, this is really funny. And so Natasha's emotionally stunted for sure, and abrasive,
Mm.
but extremely charming at the same time. And that's such an odd mix to have. You know, someone who's quite outspoken, doesn't think much before they speak, but also kind of you wish her well and you want to be her friend, you know? That's what I like about Natasha.
Right, right. And I'm glad that you mentioned the beginning scene where everybody was sitting around and she's like, you're really about to bring your child. So that scene really stuck out to me because I feel like a lot of people are in that transitional period where some people in our lives are having kids and getting married. And then some people are just that single friend who's like kind of the odd one out. So when I saw that, I was like, this is very relatable. So what are you excited for like fans and viewers to like take away from the show?
I, you know, like there is there is no fluff in this show, right? There's no fluff. There's no sort of there's no cutesy behavior. This is a bunch of kick-ass women in this show that plow ahead, and the horror theme is motherhood. It's kind of wild, you know. So I think that the viewers, I think there literally is, whether you're the friend who has the kids, who's got the friends who don't, whether you're a caregiver but they're not your children, like there you can relate to many facets of this show. So that's what I'm looking forward for the viewers to see. Like I'm really curious to see what other parts that they identify with.
Mm, right, right. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier. So the series takes on a lot of conversations when it comes to motherhood and children, but in a comedic way with elements of mystery and drama. So what about the project interested you the most?
I mean, there was the writing. I loved the writing, but I really loved the just how fierce and unapologetic and honest and transparent and harrowing the take was on being a woman.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like being a woman. And there was no there was just nothing fancy about it. You know what I mean? Down to the costumes, the lighting, the fact that the majority of our directors were women as well. We had a very female heavy crew, a very diverse crew. There was just something in the air about it that seemed to really just have a really refreshing, honest take on parts of what it is to be a woman that you don't often see.
I love that you mentioned that most of the cast were women, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing because I feel like a lot of times when we talk about filmmaking or production, we talk about diversifying it, not just with race, but as well as gender. So that's really amazing that you're saying that the cast was mainly women.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah,
And what,
and you know, we had our DOP was a woman, our directors were women bar one. Like it was, you know, yeah, it was good. It was refreshing. It was nice.
that's amazing. Okay. So when you think of the show and a specific scene that's going to really like catch some like a viewer or fan's attention, what scene comes to mind, but without giving away too much?
I just Oh, what scene comes to mind? I mean, okay, I won't say too much, but what I will say is that Natasha's attempts to get rid of this baby get outrageous. I'll say that. And they're funny and they're also harrowing and they're also like, are you sure? Like, are you all right? Like her attempts to offload this baby are I think people are gonna be shocked and they're gonna
I
laugh.
agree. But it's like the thing that was really funny about it is like she would do the attempt, but then go back like, wait, I take it back.
But she didn't have any choice, right?
I think that's what was so comedic about it because like I understand her struggle that she's just been placed with this huge responsibility and she's like now every time I'm trying to get rid of the child I can't because now I feel like I have to nurture and protect it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of cracks me up. I love the moment when she's like, yes, I got rid of it. And then you always see her like just after that, just like, oh my God.
My next question is there were many scenes where your character is exuding a lot of emotions and you could feel that as the viewer that the vibes that are being given off from that scene, so what was it like preparing for that?
To be honest with you, I think for like the whole time filming it, I just you watch as the series goes on, my shoulders just get more and more hunched. It was just like Natasha's just in this state of panic for
Right.
so long. And by the time we get to like the last episode, I'm just like, "Ah!" So I think that like yeah, it's pretty, in all honesty, it's pretty heavy. And luckily, I really got on with my cast members and the crew, so you just have to have a lot of laughs in between as a palate cleanser. You got to crack jokes in between, because otherwise you're just sort of, yeah, walking around with your shoulders by your ears every day, so you just got to laugh, in between the scenes. But as far as getting into the headspace to do some of those scenes, like, yeah, you kind of have to pull from your own experiences, I guess, and times where you've been upset, or thinking about how she would feel in that moment. So yeah, and then after, you just got to crack jokes and laugh.
So that just as the palate cleanser, like, okay, we just did that scene. Now let's laugh a little bit.
As a sorbet, Rebecca, as a sorbet. You know what I mean? You're just like, someone showed me something on Instagram. I need a cat meme or something.
I need to decompress.
Yes, exactly.
So, how do you feel like this show will differentiate from other shows that kind of have conversations about motherhood? And I'm gonna just throw an example out there. Like when I think of people being thrown into unexpected motherhood, I think of shows like Jane the Virgin. So, how do you feel like this show will compare to those, or like be different as well?
Um, well, I hope that this show, I think when we talk about these kind of topics, it feels like, and like motherhood, that it has to be compared to another show about motherhood. But we have all we all have mothers, whether we have a relationship with them or not. We all have mothers, and we're all children to someone. We're all a child of someone. And so I hope that this is a show that can fit alongside like the shows that you mentioned, and will just, be another thing to inform, and to inform the spectrum of emotions that you feel when you're a caregiver. And hopefully you'll feel less isolated through watching the show, and that you're entertained, and that you'll find it funny, and you'll cry and you'll laugh and you'll scream and you'll be scared because it's a horror. So yeah, I hope that it can do the experience justice.
one of the lines that really stuck out for me was one of the scenes where your character was talking to her friend, and she said, basically expressed to you, saying, I feel like sometimes I'm failing as a mother. So for you to like not basically have an understanding of your character, I'm saying, to not have an understanding of her emotions was like very, like the way she expressed that, very, like connected with me a lot, because I've had conversations with people like that before.
So I think a scene for me that really stood out was the opening scene, the poker scene, where you can see Natasha's friends having to put her guard up because Natasha just doesn't relate and isn't being accommodating to her child, and she clearly loves her child, and you see her at that moment have to make a decision, which is like, you are my friends, but you are not accommodating to my child. And it's a real sad moment because you see that Natasha doesn't get what's going on. She feels abandoned, and so does her friend. And that's something that really, I think like it got me. It got me on the page when I was reading it, and then it got me with Siobhan's performance, who plays Mags. I was just like, oh, you can see how disappointed she is that her friend doesn't have her back. And you can also see how disappointed Tash is that she feels abandoned.
Right. And then I felt bad for the other friend who, just had this announcement about pregnant, and then Natasha's character is just like, okay.
It's harsh, isn't it?
I felt so bad. It's and it gave me, I like when I watch shows and I have a reaction of like being uncomfortable for the characters in the show. And I felt like you guys took on your characters very well, and that energy would provide to me as the viewer. So when I saw that, I was like, I need to ask about that.
That's so nice to hear, Rebecca. That's good.
Of course. My last question is, so if somebody was to come to you and ask you to describe the show in 3 words, what 3 words would you describe the show?
You're going to have to give me an at in there, but a harrowing look at, that's my freebie, motherhood.
Right. I like it. I definitely get that. I stumped you a little bit with the question.
I know. I was like, I bet you thought my screen froze then. I was like, what?
No, but the answers are definitely true. I would probably use the same words too if somebody was to ask me to describe the show to them as well in 3 words. I would probably use the same words.
Yeah. Because it is, right? It's sort of like...
And I'll also throw suspenseful in there. It's a lot of moments of suspense where I was just like, oh, okay.
Right? Ooh.
But thank you so much for sitting down and speaking with me today. I had a pleasure. You're an amazing actor and an amazing person. Thank you so much for sitting down and speak with me.
Rebecca, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Of course.
I'm wishing you sunshine, no more rain.
Tomorrow we're going to get some sunshine. It's going to be cold. So you can't have it all.
You can't have it all, baby.